Song.
I was waiting for Bill to start singing.
BS is the title of that tune. Brought to you by Leonard Lee and the folks at IoT Coffee Talk. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
It's all good. All good.
All good.
I used Bill Pugh's financial advice, which he makes publicly available on the internet. And I shorted some bank in Silicon Valley and made millions overnight. So thanks, Bill. You're the man.
Anytime.
Good for you. Yes. Yeah, we had a crazy conversation last week, right? That was nuts. But I think we were pretty on hit. It's just that a lot of people are trying to blame interest rates and the Fed and all that stuff, and it's like skirting accountability. It's crazy, you know. But anyway, good for you.
But it's the same, when you try to dissect why a big transformation project failed. If you come up with like one reason, it's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Like there's more complexity to it. Interest rates, definitely a component, but not the thing, right? Not the thing. It's like, the VP moved on. Okay, a component, but not the thing. Maybe the project sucked in the first place.
Yeah, you know what? It's all about unintended consequences. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and when they pile up, they hit a critical mass and then disaster happens. But, I think the disasters usually are triggered in high risk where a risk gets accumulated, right? And that's why it ended up being SVB, right? It was the weakest link. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Well, and I think for us, and I haven't caught up to last week's episode, but it's just hearing from folks in the community that have small startups trying to do something in IoT that some were affected. Some folks went right away and say like, hey, we're good because we don't bank there. We bank here sort of thing. So, I heard from a few folks last week.
Yeah. Steve was making a big deal out of that. And, yes, we empathize, but, FDIC insures deposits up to $250,000. And if you're a startup, you should have somebody who's handling the treasury function. And for larger corporations, there's no friggin' excuse. If you go to a large corporation, they have a treasurer that basically they manage the risk of the cash, right? And so I don't know. It's not like big corporations don't do it. And large entities can't manage their cash in a way that reduces risk and prevents this kind. But the thing is why did it still boils down to why did people just like freak out?
It's kind of like when you're out at a convention or something like that, and all of a sudden one person runs. Everyone takes off running.
Yeah.
Well, as someone,
it's the mass effect.
Yeah.
I don't have all the money in the world like Bill does, so I don't have that problem. But if you have I think they call it the really large depositors. Like if you have hundreds of millions of dollars in a bank, right? You have that kind of money. Like, why do you really panic? Like, if you woke up with like, say, 100 million less, but you still did anything change? Are you gonna not go to Whole Foods and your worst case scenario is Trader Joe's?
Yeah,
I don't know. So why the bank runs? I don't know, man.
No, makes and very early on, what people were arguing was this: is that why didn't the Silicon Valley community stick together and support the bank? Instead, what everyone did was basically try to cut and run. Why that? And what drove the fear factor? And it really does boil down to the risk that was piled up in there. And it's not just the financial challenging financial situation the bank got itself into. It's the quality of the depositors, and that ultimately that's the thing that needs to be examined, but it's already getting kind of, you have all these billionaires who are the only people who are supposed to have an opinion, according to Jim Cramer. He said that, by the way.
Well, Jim Cramer says a lot of things.
Should have an opinion. Nice one, Jim.
Booyah.
Yeah, booyah.
I think also, I was you can't avoid the comparisons of a financial crisis without going into the Great Depression, right, from the 30s. And something that I thought was really cool is that back in the day, for people to do a bank run, like, how did people even know?
Yeah.
Right? It's like you really had to be connected, and like, what am I sending you? A telegraph? Bill, get your money out, man. They're coming for When now it's just like, a tweet, a text, and because the velocity with which this money was taken out was insane.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? Here, as much as you can put out like the fear, you can put out assurance as well. That's just a friggin' excuse, man. The velocity of risk mitigation and control, it can go out just as fast as the fear. The thing is that where was the gravity? Do you know what I'm saying? I saw this. What is the First Republic, or one of the banks that went, smaller banks that went under? But it's funny because banks go under all the time. It's just now they're getting a spotlight, and they tend to be these smaller banks that that are that where the depositors, they go to the bank and their intent may be, oh, hey, I heard something, so I'm going to pull my money out. But the bank is able to provide assurance to the depositor, because usually the depositor doesn't know that their deposits are secure to a certain amount. And then, basically convince the depositor, hey, everything's cool. And then, the depositor walks out, hey, risk mitigated, bank run avoided, averted. But the thing is that when the risk is so great and the depositors know it, fear will overcome any form of mitigation. As far as I can say, and I think that's really kind of what happened. Because like Bill, like what we were talking about last week, if these were really solid companies, right, there would be no reason for everyone to freak out. Because the concerns, the depositors themselves are solid. They're not going to go insolvent, right? So there's no fear of the next guy. Why, you're just gonna. I didn't go.
Also, if you're not, on one end, if you're bootstrapped or something of that nature, right? Yeah. You're not inclined to put your money over there in that same spot that every other entrepreneurial company or what have you is doing. Because it's the in vogue thing. That's what you do. You put your money in that bank. You're literally going to go with the bank that's going to favor what you're doing. And, that's what I did. I went to 3 different banks before I decided where my business was going to live.
Yeah.
And then I don't necessarily leave all of my money in a single location.
Yeah, right. You might do primary banking out of one, and then you protect your cash across a portfolio of banks to make sure that, you're managing risk properly. I mean, that's the whole treasury function, right? And the excuses that I hear from billionaires is that, SVB provided convenience and nobody else provided this convenience. Like, well, no, you're big enough. If you have millions and billions of dollars, you have enough money to hire a treasurer. And if you want to blame someone for exposing you to ridiculous risk, blame your treasurer.
Yep.
I mean, come on. I mean, how many excuses can these guys produce? You know what I'm saying? And it's convenience. Oh, we can't bet, like Steve was saying. And Steve, you can kick my ass later saying this. But he says, oh, well, what other banks take care of guys like us? I don't know who guys like us are, or startups. It's like, well, who cares? Risk is risk. Regulation's regulation. What's protected and the amounts that are protected is what it is. And every depositor should understand that, including startups and VCs. And if you don't understand that and you expose your company to risk for convenience sake, tough luck. I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you walk into a bank, it friggin' says it right as you're walking through the door, and you ignore that. And then what? You're going to blame everyone else except for yourself? I don't get that. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, right? Come on. I mean, that goes beyond the fact that a lot of these concerns just really didn't have any spine in terms of, viability. There's no structure and support, financial viability backing, behind these companies and, investments. So
I don't know. It's really. I think that at the end of the day, that the perceived problem affects the top. I don't know, the top 1%. Like, how many of us actually have? How many of the population of the U.S. has actually over $250,000 in a bank? Right. It's not that many. So yeah, they hire people to manage this stuff and call it a day.
Yeah. But clearly, after your success with my recommendations, you have that.
Bill, I just learned how to, you know what I now have? I have a family office looking after my finances.
You see how that works?
I didn't even know what that thing was last Wednesday.
Oh man.
I've hired a team.
Oh, see? Oh my God. Come on, Bill. How come you didn't give me that tip?
Yeah, folks, if you're still listening, Bill Pugh does not offer any type of financial advice, and neither one of us here. Like, do not make money decisions on anything you hear on.
No, this. Absolutely not. That's one of our that's our prime directive.
Yeah, we are not FDIC.
That's rule number one. Rule number one for watching this show is do not take us seriously, because we're just talking crap.
Yeah.
Right. It's ridiculous. But so what are you guys up to? I'm I'm virtually attending GTC, NVIDIA's GTC, and of course I'm getting a whole earful on generative AI. I listened to Jensen Huang's keynote yesterday. It was interesting. Dude, that guy is like the ultimate salesman, man. After you listen to that, you think, oh, generative AI, there is no problemo. Everything is handled and everything is cool. I mean, he does a great job. And, it's pretty nutty. But
that's his business, right? Yeah. I mean, that is his business. Yeah. And I mean, when I look at, so here's a couple of things, right? When I look at social media as a whole, and now you have these things, called influencers.
Yeah.
And influencers, and when you think about it, you have the Gen X, Gen Z, all of them running around saying, I'm going to be a social media influencer and this and that. Yeah. Understand what that means, because what you just said, he's the ultimate sales guy. He's an influencer.
Oh yeah.
I will influence a stream of thought that will have you acting a specific way. And whether that be buying my service, whether that be, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Believing what he wants you to believe, right? Which is that all the generative stuff works. But you know, it was interesting. I read this article about the new release of Chat or the GPT-4. Okay, and the transcript.
Wait a minute. You mean the CEO that said he was scared of his own stuff?
Yeah, and then, but if you read it, you read the transcript. There is a part where he sits there and he says something about, one of the big problems with generative AI is this whole hallucination thing, right? It's like, yeah, okay, so let's stop calling it a hallucination problem. Let's call it what it is. It just makes up shit. It confidently makes up shit, presents it as fact. The problem is that it's people who are the problem. It's not the technology. The technology just does what it does. It's humanity's responsibility to use the tools properly. And that's the thing that's completely missing. So there's ethical AI, right? Which is the AI is ethical. This whole thing about trying to take biases out of AI, that's ethical AI. Then there's responsible AI that we've been talking about, right? That's about people. Do you responsibly build applications, release applications to the public and to your customers that are not going to do harm, right? And man, when the guy who's like the CEO of the company that invented this stuff goes around saying, "Oh, by the way, I got a problem just making shit up." How do you ignore that?
We shouldn't. And maybe the hallucination should be presented with technical terms, because we humans hallucinate, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you need to take some stuff, but the point is, it's a human trait. So yeah, maybe like technical language to describe what is actually happening when this thing is hallucinating, to explain why it's making stuff up. But I was also OpenAI. I haven't read the whole thing, but they did put out a paper that was explaining improvements from GP from 3 to 4.
Yeah,
and it talked about like principles, like almost like a constitution, where benevolence is part of it, and maleficence is out, and like all these things. And I'm like, but man, like these are human traits, but I don't know that we're able to separate the two, and then release this machine with less guardrails, maybe more than before. It's scary and fascinating.
Yeah, but here's the problem. He also mentions, the problem with inputs, and that who controls the inputs. And when you open up the model to be exposed to human inputs, right? Sort of in a democratized way, like what we talked about previously. I mean, we've been talking about this for at least a couple of months. We're ahead of the curve in terms of where people should be thinking about this stuff. What we see when you put it out, something out there, is that people corrupt it. That's the sad fact, is people corrupt the crap out of it.
But that falls right in line with my snarky remark that, look, how in the hell are you ever going to trust this? I barely trust natural intelligence.
Yeah. No,
come on.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you're doing is you're creating, and it's not artificial. Artificial intelligence is the technology, right? The application that you're actually building is artificial stupidity, right? Because it's just turning into an idiocracy. It's an idiocracy amplifier. So here's one of the interesting things, though, and I'm just really curious how NVIDIA is actually pulling this off. They have a number of generative AI frameworks that they put out there. One of them is called Nemo. Okay, so you should check it out. There's an interesting element to the whole Nemo framework, which is that I think it's that one that is used for doing sort of the predictive language stuff. It's called the, oh crap, I knew what it was and I just forgot it. See, this is what happens when you get old. It's, oh my God, I can't believe, let me see if I can look it up. It's the...
So somebody asked ChatGPT what Leonard was just thinking.
Yeah, see, that's actually a killer application for ChatGPT, is like helping you remember crap.
It will recommend an implant just at the base.
No, guardrail service. No, it's called guardrail service. So I'm looking at the architecture now. So Nemo, yeah. So it's got all this crap. That's the generative AI stuff. There's a thing called p-tuning where you can kind of, I guess, you tune the ethics of it, I guess. I don't know. But then there's this other thing called guardrail services. I don't know exactly how that works and whether or not it's an active component to the actual, model. But it's all about the corpus. It's still not about the inputs, right? And so how disconnected some of this tooling is from what, like, the stuff that Sam Altman just puts out there openly. I don't know how you reconcile those things, right? Because they're so disconnected. And the problems that Sam continuously suggests as he's releasing more of this stuff, I don't see the functions that can actually effectively mitigate the risks and potential dangers that they put out there. And, when you listen to him, he clearly goes in an itemized list, runs down all of the potential catastrophic things that can happen if certain people apply this in the wrong way, right? Whatever that is. So I don't know.
I think they need to put out a job rec where, like, you're gonna make like a really comfy living abode in the back of the server room at OpenAI. Yeah. And when the light goes on, you just unplug the thing. You just start taking blades out, unplug power, just put chemicals, light a match and just get out of Dodge.
Good luck. You know how hard that would be, because you know how many server blades are used to basically to run these things? Oh my God. Yeah, no. I mean, I think and then they'll start to distribute them, right? And then it's going to be game over. You can't control it, But
I'm sure no one's trying to figure out how to actuate in the real world, things that can be.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Why would they ever do that?
No, I don't know. It's like, what does that big break in that substation do?
Go pull it.
Yeah. It's getting funky out there, all these pivots, and I don't know. So Bill, what are you up to?
So my latest thing has been digging around to find naysayers as it relates to IoT and smart cities and things of that nature. And I mean, when you go looking, because normally what I think, as a technologist, what I think we do is we look for the latest, greatest thing. We look for, new developments. We look for all of these other things. And then we critique, assess, and arrive at some type of conclusion.
Yeah.
What happens when you go and you look for the opposite? When you look for the people that are hearing about this stuff, know literally dick about what that is and what it does, compile a bunch of information, and then jump on YouTube and start talking about it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I mean, literally I've looked at some of these, and if you look on YouTube, I put it in the chat. If you look on YouTube at what this guy is saying, this literally came out last week, and it's horrible. I mean, my goodness. It is.
Oh, man.
You listen to him. It's about 12 minutes, and he cites stuff that happened in Kansas City. He talks about Cisco and Google's partnership. He talks about Google and Sidewalk and what happened in Quayside and all of that. I mean, and all he really did was compile a bunch of failed efforts.
Yeah.
And said, look, guys, you guys have to fight against this.
Yeah.
You have to fight against it. You know, they want to take our minds. They want to take our freedom. Our liberties are gone.
Oh.
I mean, and so that's what I've been up to, is really looking at those things.
It sounds like anyone can just come to YouTube and put stuff out there, folks. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I know. It's like ridiculous.
but it's so I watch it, and then I spend a lot of time reading the comments. And the people thanking him. Thank you for putting this wonderful content out. It's like, really?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the crazy thing, man. I think and those comments are very telling. You actually get a lot out of the comments, and it's usually not it's not. It can support your analysis, but it typically gives you proof how far departed a particular community is from, or a group of folks are from, sensible thinking or informed thinking, and so that's kind of like the cool thing, right? And then you can see certain communities that are much more, let's say, aligned to something that's more quote unquote truthful, so yeah. No, I mean, you have to go take a look at that. I'm sorry, it's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes long, and it was released 4 days ago. Oh man. Yeah, you know what? My problem is I don't like watching those things. Hey, what's up, Marc?
Hey.
Join. I don't like watching those things because I just don't want to help those folks monetize their crap. For me, I'm like, if you can make money off of FUD.
Yeah. And for those people that don't know, FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah.
Then by all means, go right ahead. I mean, I don't think that it's going to change. I mean, I've spoken at events where, at the end of it, I'm like, are there questions? And then you get the people that they've just been sitting there salivating, going, I can't wait. Let me ask the question. And they ask a question, and it's so far off in left field.
Yeah.
That, I do one of two things. If I'm feeling like, that was really an uninformed question, then I might rephrase the question for them. What you really meant to ask me was this.
Okay.
Because what you asked was ridiculous. What you really meant to ask me was this. And I mean, it's those types of things. I think that they give credence to the stuff that we're doing. Because they're so ill-informed, and because they've received not just misinformation, partial truth mixed with bullshit. It just creates opportunities for me to further enhance the the knowledge and the position that we take in terms of how you actually do this.
Well, that's the thing. I think with, I told a friend of mine, I'm not afraid of generative AI because at the end of the day, it's going to pump out so much junk, because of its mass hallucinations that it's going to be, projecting out into humanity. The only thing that is going to matter is humanity, the human part. If you can somehow surface, your human differentiation, that's what's going to stick out. Now it's going to get drowned. It'll have to contend or compete with all this, hallucinogenic noise. But that's the only thing that it will eventually be valuable, and the things that will peak up from the noise. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy because, like Marc, you're saying, hey, look, they're kind of like your competitors. In a way, they are. It's just there's going to be this huge flood of junk. But I think that's where human real creativity, real craft, real intellect can prevail. And so in a way, I think generative AI can actually create opportunities because people only have so much, they only have so much capacity to absorb all this junk. People themselves are going to have to put filters on, and eventually they're going to say, where was that article generated? Did you write it, or was it Chat GPT generated? If you say it was Chat GPT generated, and there's actual regulations that require you to say that, people won't read that stuff. They'll say, well, it has this tendency to hallucinate, and I don't trust you as a human to have gone and vetted the sources or actually have done the analysis. You just cut and pasted it. It's going to lose credibility. So I think at a certain point that's going to become a factor. And the thing is that you have to understand the technology to understand the potential of applications. And like I was saying, Jensen Huang makes you believe this stuff is like friggin', it's the iPhone moment, as he puts it. I don't, I almost drank the Kool-Aid, but then I have to keep going back to what Sam Altman said. And then the hallucination issues and all these things. I mean, it's just, he lists off a scary list of crap, man. And then he goes, oh, and by the way, I'm going to make it public. That's like, what?
Well, I mean,
Leonard, I think it's,
I don't get it.
If today, if the content you're reading is being, generated, by, like, some people cannot tell the difference, like if you cannot name, so Leonard, if you cannot name, say, a local journalist from your area in San Diego, and this person's style, and Marc cannot, name a journalist from, I don't know, La Vanguardia in Barcelona that writes certain way, same thing for everyone else here, we might be able to tell the difference, because it's like, wait a minute, like that, it sounds odd, it's not written as, let me ask the question. But there's going to be a lot of the a big chunk of the population that just will take it for what it is, or the social media effect. Exactly. I saw this article that Uncle Billy liked on Facebook, and I trust Uncle Billy because he's really smart, and that's it. So that filter that you were talking about, that is absolutely necessitated, won't be used by a lot of people, and that's again and that's part of the problem. It's back to scary and fascinating.
Hey,
well, I mean, that thing that you just said there, I wholeheartedly agree with. But we have to remember, how many people are really reading these days?
I am. We are. We're always talking about reading.
Don't overestimate, or don't give people too much credit.
Yeah, no, I mean, really. How many people are reading?
How many people can do math these days?
Got to.
Shit. I mean, seriously.
Come on, folks. Know your denominators.
Without a calculator. So talking about technology dumbing you down. I mean, dude, I am proof that technology actually, diminishes human capability, mental capability. I can't remember anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want proof? Friggin', I have everything on my devices, and my brain now is geared toward just not remembering stuff because it depends on devices and something like, this whole thing with the guardrail service. I couldn't remember it because I'm trained to assume that I don't need to remember it because I can just look it up, and it makes me dumber. I used to remember a lot of crap. I used to be like, those guys that can remember all the stats and all that. I can't do that anymore. And maybe that's just getting old. I don't know, Bill. You want to comment?
I'm not gonna say it's getting old.
Are you 20 years old and you haven't?
That is 100%. That is 100% technology driven. I mean, think about it. I was talking to my daughter. She was visiting for spring break, and we were talking about phone numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone's phone number.
Yeah. There you go.
I barely remember my own. I would tell my wife, call me. Oh, yeah, that's my number. That's
my address.
It's crazy.
Are you going to tell me you don't remember your childhood home number or your parents' phone? Like right now, you could just recite it.
I don't know my wife's phone number, man. And she gets pissed at me. She goes, "How come you don't?" Oh, man, no.
No, I can still remember. I can still remember phone numbers from then. But I mean, think about it. You knew people's numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a contact. Search up their name. Hit press. Press send, and there it is.
Yeah.
But look, the brain is a muscle, and I think if Leonard, if you've trained it before, you can retrain it again. It's no different than directions. It's like, hey, I landed in JFK, and you're gonna take the Long Island Express. Go towards Long Island. That's east, and exit 17, 2 miles. Make the first right. That's how we used to do it. Yeah. Then MapQuest came along, and we would print it out, and you were looking at the odometer. Right. Yeah. And then Garmin and the GPS and this. And now, like for one, you can put me in New York any day of the week and I know which direction I'm going. But anywhere else, I don't even know where east is or west or anywhere. No idea.
Yeah.
Well, New York is easier, right? It's like in Barcelona.
Yeah.
If you are used to
easier.
If your brain is used to that.
Yeah, which is why they laid a lot of the cities out in grids, and they had streets that were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, it's like that in Colombia. In Colombia, all of the addresses are by lat long, calle and carrera.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's literally by lat long. So you cannot. You navigate to get to a place.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I noticed in Barcelona, if you tell a person the address, they actually know where it is. And I was like going, how the hell did they do that? And it's basically what you just said, Bill. But the thing is that, okay, yes, we can retrain ourselves. The brain is a muscle, but the problem is that we also succumb just as humans to convenience. And then we lose that function, because, I noticed my son, he knows how to get to the park where he does soccer. If I don't have like GPS, dude, I'm lost. But my son will tell me exactly where it is. Because, he doesn't know what GPS is yet.
But orientation is something different, right? Maybe it's something that you cannot train, orientation. Right.
Dude, it used to be
but good. You can train, but if you don't take attention, it's hard. So this is another story. So I wanted to actually, this discussion is super interesting, but how is this related with something that we were talking 100 episodes ago? Rob was mentioning, I want my own digital twin. So like my digital assistant. So is this GPT X thing will be connected with the Rob's digital personal twin?
That's a good question.
And everyone was like, yes, we want this. But now,
I don't want this.
You don't want it.
The last thing Rob Tiffany wants is a live digital twin of him that doesn't sleep. That's the last thing he needs.
Dude, Deepak Chopra already has one, man. That's how he's scaling out his guru-ness. He has like a and I talked to him at the the friggin' Milken conference, and I went to one of his presentations and listened to him about metaverse, and of course he's talking about metaverse, calling it the greatest thing in the world. Now you see all these articles talking about how metaverse is dead now, which is funny. So much for foresight. But he has, that's one, chalk one up for, Chopra getting it wrong. But anyways, he has a digital twin, man.
And on the other hand, how many people are going to use GPT when it's going to be premium?
Some people will. I think people will.
Yeah, of course, some people will. But
oh, no, definitely.
That's like 20% of all the people that today is using it.
But I think people will also switch, with Bard being released here one of these days. It's an invitation right now. I think there will be, people are going to go, I'll take the freemium, and when that starts charging, I'll go to the next one because they're going to be, similar models. But I don't know. I think the power users will definitely, pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically going to be, I can see how it can be used as a tool. Again, the thing is that it enables you to create a massive amount, or humanity to collectively produce a massive amount of stuff. How much effort is actually put into validating and preventing hallucinations from basically overrunning the internet? That's the big question, right? And so this is where I was saying there's going to be a great opportunity in responsible AI, and part of that responsible AI is probably going to be bullshit cleanup. How do you tell what is crap and what's not? Being able to go directly to sources, because I'm telling you, people are getting excited about this technology. I used it, so I'm not just like pulling stuff out of my ass and just being critical. I mean, stuff does not work, right? For certain things, it absolutely just comes back with it just makes crap up. That is fundamentally wrong. On a massive scale, just for that particular function.
But maybe this is exactly what humanity needs: an automated way of putting wrong content out that's going to force us to actually read, critically think, and then get to a conclusion based on what I know and checking facts. Maybe it's going to be time consuming, but maybe this is going to save us all.
But I maintain what I said some episodes ago about like humans also do that. Yeah. So I'm tired of salespeople selling things that they don't have any clue or they don't have any experience, or like look the TV commercials that they sell knives and all of this bullshit, right? On TV. Yeah. This time, so usually some of these products are crap, but they I don't know. It's good looking on the first impression, right? But then when you scratch a little bit, you see. But so humans are already doing this. Yeah. Why do you blame about machines doing exactly the same?
Think about this, though. Now they have been armed with a weapon of mass destruction to basically, step up their game like times 1,000. Yeah. I mean, for real, the people, like what you said, the people who are going to pay for this thing are going to be exactly those people, because you know what? They got to get as much crap out there as possible, and if they can get Chat GPT's help to basically regurgitate all the marketing material out there and come up with new variations of the same crap. And
well, that's what in my opinion, that's the real thing. So if correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see.
You're wrong.
OpenAI is owned by Microsoft.
Who?
Microsoft. Does Microsoft own OpenAI?
No, they're an investor, but they are a very large majority investor. Yeah. On the order of like $10 billion or something.
Yeah. That is the death. If it ever moves beyond that, that is the death. OpenAI will be gone. We won't have to worry about it.
Well,
Microsoft will kill it.
It's like it may be like a Frankenstein for Microsoft. I mean, they really have to. They should. I mean, it's like how. Again, I'm going to go back to how do you reconcile what Sam Altman says, which is ends up being like really freaky, horrific stuff, quite honestly, with what companies are doing with it. And I don't mean just GPT-4 or 3 or whatever. The craze. And how all, it's not just Microsoft, other brands are going bonkers with this stuff. I don't know. Nobody has bridged the divide. Do you know what I'm saying? Where are the tools? Where are the regulations? I mean, the guy's even calling for regulation. It's like, hey, regulators, you guys have to figure this out. It's like, good luck. Regulators don't react until massive damage has already occurred, right? So, do you know what I'm saying? I really struggle with how. That is why I'm telling you, everyone's going to be talking about responsible AI as the damage is happening at mass. And then, and again, I'm going to go back to what he said. He said it may be able to do a few things very well to give you the misleading impression of greatness. So that means that the benefit potential is very small, and the rest of it is just, hallucinations. What I'm saying? It's like, how do you reconcile that math, people? And I'm telling you, it's like, if you look at it from a purely technological perspective, dude, that's some heavy Kool-Aid. You drink that stuff. Any lay person is going to drink that stuff because it's just so impressive. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, damn, this stuff is like for real.
Yeah, yes. I saw this my morning. So 10 hours ago, some AI generated pictures of how the police is gonna catch Donald Trump. Did you see that? And there are 4 different pictures AI generated of the police catching Donald Trump. He running in front of the police, and it's so fucking amazing. So and how are you gonna? So people can think that this is real. No, how can it will be hard, like a picture or a video that it's AI generated. How can you convince people that this is not true?
Yeah, because my mom, the scariest thing that she's ever said to me is like, hey, you should, I asked her, it's like, how do you know this is true? She goes, well, it was on YouTube.
It's on the TV.
My God. And I said, Mom,
if it's on the TV,
a lot of this crap is not real, right? I mean, some of it is just complete BS. He goes, oh, well, you say that, but I was like, no, I'm in the industry, because she tries to lecture me on all the tech companies and stuff like that.
I told you, there are things that we need to make staples for IoT Coffee Talk. One of them is Fallacy Fridays. That's a real thing.
Okay.
And the other one is give me the mic. That shit'll never work.
We need to come up. We have to get Stephanie to make T-shirts. So we have the IoT Coffee Talk in the front, and then the hashtag in the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But hey, going back to your question, Marc, yeah, man, the generative AI stuff is interesting. There's a lot of questions that haven't been asked. And one of them is that there's a lot of talk about personalization, that these guys, like, I guess, like the Bings and the Bards of the world, they want to be able to personalize the responses to the I guess the account or the person that's that it could be very, very creepy. I mean, this is like really, really, I mean, a lot of people have to ask questions about this. And talking about digital twin, one of the companies that I saw at E3 about 4 years ago is developing a platform, or did develop a platform or gaming platform called Proxy. And it's one of those massive free, open world type games. But one of the really disturbing things that I heard was that part of what they're trying to do, and this is like pre-metaverse nonsense, right, is profiling your psyche by your interactions in that world.
God. Is this real or not?
Yeah, I know. And then, I saw on Twitter, there's like some left-wing weird account that publishes a bunch of fake stuff. I mean, they just basically go, breaking news,
It's funny.
I love that shit.
Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
That's crazy. See, yeah. I mean, so we already have the problem, This is already the problem.
I mean, with text, and content, as we mentioned before, you can more or less see, that it's not real or not correct. But with images, how can you prove?
Yeah, and then when the sources, like journalists, start to use the tool, and they get lazy because they're under pressure to pump out as many articles as possible. And it happens. There are a lot of publications and outlets that are under pressure to put as many articles out as possible to get the clicks. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Where's the benefit? Where's the benefit to humanity other than making it much easier for people, crap generators, to create even more crap?
Yeah.
But going back to the digital twin, yeah. I mean, so what does this mean? Personalizing the chat responses, the generative AI responses to the user. That means they're going to profile you. And here's the creepy thing. We don't, as humans, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we don't express ourselves in writing and in speech, 1000%. We always put out a certain kind of persona that may not actually be us. It's called acting. I mean, just look at if you take a bunch of CEOs keynotes and stuff like that, if you think that you're actually getting the personality of that individual, you're high on crack. What they say and what they put out into the ether is very tightly controlled, right? In other words, they cannot be an asshole, right? But they may be the biggest asshole you ever met in real life.
That's theater, right?
Right. It's theater. So that becomes the reality of the AI. And it treats you based on what you say. So a lot of people tend to be a lot loose. And if it's not another person, they could be quite, maybe threatening or abusive to the AI. That all of a sudden, that becomes your profile. What gets profiled in the public generative AI engine. I mean, that's kind of scary. And so digital twinning, where I'm glad you brought this up. This is a genius, man, where the sensor has not been calibrated correctly, so it's getting bad data off of the actual physical twin.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
But we get victimized as individuals because it doesn't know everything about us, right? But whatever its understanding is at whatever moment in time is its truth, right? And that truth evolves over time, obviously, but you become a victim of what it thinks of you at any point in time. And at every point in time, it can be completely incorrect about who you are. So by missing,
so you have an opportunity for personal ransomware.
Okay. You want to drop the mic now?
I'm just saying.
You need this mic, dude.
That's it.
You can create like a little JPEG or whatever. You just drop the mic. You drop the bomb on generative AI. Yeah. But that's how they have to monetize this stuff, dude. They can't do it like, oh, generic, chat GPT, blah, blah, blah. The only way they can monetize is that they're going to be targeting certain things at you, and that takes a form of some sort of bias, right? That they're going to incorporate somehow, either through an advertisement or the response, its actual response. Because what do we do in search? They have the sponsored ad that they stick at the very top. It's exactly the same thing. Guys, man, this is why I love this show, man. We trip on, we trip on intellect and come up with some really, actually very cool stuff. Everyone should watch this episode.
But then, yeah, I think we discussed this like 100 episodes ago as well. So if you have your own digital twin or you use GPT every day, you should pay taxes for that, right? You should pay. So you have like an employee that works for you, right? So you should pay something for the taxes.
You should pay a penalty.
Hiring someone.
Oh yeah.
Robots should pay taxes.
Oh.
What do you think?
Robots should pay taxes? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I do have that buddy that he put sensors on a mint plant, and then it somehow made money, gave it sort of its own personal identity.
What?
Remember the NFT? It mints NFT, basically creates art based off its condition. And it generates money. So yeah, it should be taxed. So a mint plant should be taxed, and
I mean, if you generate money, I don't know if you mine any crypto, you're generating money, so you pay taxes for that, unless you live in a country that where cryptos are not taxable. But
now
I think this is exactly the same, right?
Yeah, I think you're talking about a problem that we'll have to deal with when we get there. That's like brain exploding stuff, Marc.
But aren't they trying to take us there with Web3 and all of that other stuff, right?
Yeah. No, we might get there. I mean, those are all like, but it all has to do with, I think, just rights and jurisdiction, right? It's like a whole governance thing. But the problem with humanity is we're tribal, and those tribal conflicts, as much as we want to be open and kumbaya, man, it's like, look what's happening in the world right now. 5G might not even end up as a single standard. It might get divided into China and non-China.
Actually, I had a really nice conversation about on Embedded World about the geopolitical of the telecommunications. Yeah. I didn't think on that way before, but that was interesting. So Huawei, maybe I will say something wrong, so I'm happy that you correct me, but Huawei invented NB-IoT. So NB-IoT comes from China.
No.
And then, no, that's not correct. And not all the LTM.
They buy it. They bought it. It's their contribution to the 3GPP standards. It was actually, I think it was a UK. So someone else is going to correct me. It was a UK.
Yeah, if you're watching this, just leave your comments on it.
It's a UK company that they acquired. And then the technology they contributed to 3GPP. So in a way, you're kind of right. You didn't invent.
But basically, it was pushed from China, right? And then American telcos or Western telcos didn't want that, so they pushed towards LTE-M, Cat1 or whatever technology different. So as not competing, but kind of complementary with NB-IoT. Yeah. So there is like a war of, okay, do you want like to use Chinese technology on telco or non-Chinese technology? I saw similar things with as well, like MQTT broker. Do you want to use like the one made by a Chinese company or by the European company?
Yeah.
That's right. So I start to see this geopolitical thing on technologies these days.
Oh, it's happening big time. But you know what I'm saying? So how do you expect Bitcoin and cryptos to unify the world? I mean, it just doesn't work that way. It gets used for a certain purpose, but it cannot be a global fabric, for society and economy.
How Bitcoin is related with this? Sorry, I got lost.
Huh?
How Bitcoin is related with this? I got lost.
No. Because a lot of, what was it? Bitcoin is going to supplant all fiat currencies, right? But that's not the case. The only way it can happen.
Who say that? Sorry.
Oh,
who say that Bitcoin is going to replace the fiat currencies? Sorry.
Pretty much every crypto person, anywhere between 2010 to.
Okay, this is wrong. So let's continue without don't read things from people who just copy and paste from ChatGPT.
Oh no, this is me listening to people up on stage at these crypto blockchain conferences, man.
They're crypto influencers.
Yeah.
You remember? No, you don't remember, but you have seen movies of in the Western, right? 200 years ago, these guys arriving on the villages in the West Coast in the U.S. selling these, I don't know, whatever that makes you to have more hair or selling you this medicine like miracle.
The spray.
This is the same type of crypto influencers, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Snake oil sales people is what they are.
Snake oil, yeah.
Snake oil. You rub it on and everything gets cured.
So So it's the same. I think they are the same people.
Dude, you ask the best questions, man. I mean, I'm not taking any away from you, Bill, because you have the best answers. But you have the best questions, dude. They're actually really thought provoking. But hey, I got a jam. Are you guys cool if we? It's over an hour.
Let's go.
But it was great show. Hey, to our IoT Coffee Talk listeners and viewers, if you made it this far, as we always say, holy crap, that's amazing. And we appreciate your support and your interest in our rants. And please share, like, and remember to subscribe to www.iotcoffeetalk.com. Also, make sure to donate to Elevate Our Kids, which is a nonprofit that we support that really wants to do something to address the digital divide, especially for children K through 12 who are underserved communities. And don't believe the hype. Remember, Public Enemy. They called it.
Don't believe the hype.
Not believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't trust it.
That's right.
Right? Dude, I'm down.
No, but this is real. This is real. I promise you, this is real.
And read a book.
Yeah, read a damn book.
Which one?
Anyone. Just read.
Just read, damn it. Okay. All right, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.